All right, so we're going to go forward with our install process now of the Dawson Precision sights. And if you ordered the links that I had put on the previous video, then you should have your package right here that came with your fiber optic front sight. You've got your fixed rear, all black, and then you've got 2 extra pieces of fiber, a green and a red, and you've got your 2 tools, your punch for the rear sight, and then your little hex key or octagon or whatever tool that is to take the front sight post off. All right, and of course, hopefully you got your little bottle of Loctite, the 262, for both the rear and the front, and we'll walk through how we're going to do that. All right, so first thing that we got to do, obviously, make sure our pistol's clear. We need to remove the slide, so always look down in through the center, no magazine, you see daylight, and then of course check the barrel, there's no round there. All right, now we need to point it in a safe direction and go ahead and squeeze the trigger. Okay, now what we want to do to relieve the tension on the slide stops here is we're going to pull the slide back about 1/4 of an inch, pull down on the slide stops, and then the slide comes right off. All right, go ahead and remove our recoil spring. Go ahead and remove the barrel. And then if you look down right below the front sight there, you can actually see that little screw that's in there. So that's where we're going to take our first tool and go ahead and get that on there, get it lined up, and just unscrew it. All right, when you remove that, okay, your front sight post just comes right off the front. All right, we're going to go ahead and put that back in it. And then I've got a little Plano box that I keep a lot of just Glock spare parts in, you know, for when you go to the range or when I go teach a class or something. You always having something either break or somebody missing something or who knows what. So it's always good to have those spare parts. So I just keep it in a little waterproof Plano box. But here's the first place that our Loctite's going to come in. I'm going to tell you, if you don't use this Loctite and don't put it on, then your front sight post will fall off. All right, that slide takes a beating, and you don't want to go ahead and draw your pistol and you have no front sight post. All right, so make sure we got this on the right way. Put a finger on that to keep it steady. And we've got our tool here with the screw in it. And screw that bad boy in. Go ahead and make it nice and snug. All right, you got the Loctite on there, so that should be it. Everything looks good to go. Flush across the top. And our screw is in all the way. All right, guys, so we're over here by the bench with the bench vise, and this is where we're gonna go ahead and knock the old plastic sight out from the back of the slide and put the new one in. Now, the only thing you need to do, you know, when you got all your parts, you should have got a little Allen key also, and you just want to make sure it should be set to where it needs to be. But before you go banging this thing in there, just double check. You can see the little Allen screw that's inside if you're looking down at the top of the sight there, if it was mounted on the pistol. On the underneath, okay, that's what's going to lock this sight in after we get it zeroed. That's where we're gonna pull that out a little bit, put some Loctite on there, and then screw that down so it locks into the metal on the frame. But just make sure that that's flush, that little screw isn't sticking out, or you're probably gonna have a hard time getting it onto the sight. All right, so we've got our tool here that came with the sights, a little flat knocker to put that on, the Allen key for later. All right, but make sure that's flush. And then, you know, I talked about having they sell these magnetic nylon or rubber pieces that can go on your vise to protect it. You know, obviously if you're putting your metal slide in there, we don't want to lock it down metal to metal. I don't have them, I've ordered them. But they haven't come in yet. So what I've done is, I mean, obviously I think you guys know that I fish. If you can't see all the stuff back here, but these Plano boxes or storage boxes that you guys get for your baits, right? The dividers that go in the center, I always have extras, tons of spares of them, and that's all that this is. So it's just a piece of plastic, but it'll work. So I'm going to put the slide in here, kind of use those to protect it. All we want to do is take our tool, just put it onto the side of the sight, and just give it a tap with a little hammer. All right, you see it just starting to move, right? It's just starting to slide out of there. that's out. All right, so then making sure that we have this facing the right direction. Slide that to a point. Okay, doesn't really want to go anymore. Again, we'll just use our tool here. All right, so we got this thing in there, and I'm pretty sure I got it about even. I'm just eyeballing it. We'll dial it in when we get to the range and shoot it some, but that's the install process. Now let's take it to the range, shoot it, and talk about the left and right shift of it if you have to make any adjustments, just to make it easy for you. All right, so we got our sights on now. Now we're out at the range. We're gonna go ahead and zero it. First thing, make sure you guys throw a little bit of oil on your gun, especially like this one is absolutely brand spanking new. Throw a little lube. I'd like to throw some just right on the slide there. When it sits vertical in your holster, it just kind of slides down there. And I use Gunfighter gun oil. It's 100% synthetic, a clear synthetic, and works pretty good, and it's got a kick-ass name. All right, talk about zeroing. Shoot a 3 to 5 round group. Distance, we normally zeroed our pistols at 25. As I get older, my eyesight's not as good. Don't do me any good to shoot it at 25 with iron sights, because it just don't do me no good. I can't see it as well. So I'm gonna shoot it today. We're gonna zero this at 15. But I would say if you can get back to 25, I probably need to just put some glasses on and do it. Get back there, shoot a 3 to 5 round group, see how it is. Now, as far as shooting goes, just a couple little pointers, because we're here at the range, right? You're gonna see when I shoot distance or I'm shooting for accuracy, you're gonna see me do something a little bit different than I do when I'm shooting for speed, or I'm more worried about control and recoil. When I'm shooting for distance and accuracy, my stance isn't near as aggressive. It's more kind of just upright. I still have the same position with my pistol. I'm out here, my arms are locked out and it's straight out in front of me, but I will close my non-dominant eye. That's just so that I can get a good fix on the front sight post, and I'm watching the rear sights, because with this setup, I've got a line of white on either side. So I want to make sure that those are even. So my left and right is even. So I'm not throwing it off just by that not being lined up. So my eyes are constantly transitioning back and forth, because it's a slow fire, between the front sight being in focus, the target being in focus, my front sight being lined up exactly how I want it on the bullseye, and then also my rear sights changing and adjusting my focus back and forth to make sure everything's lined up. So ideally, what we want to see here, we've got that like line of white on either side of that red dot, okay, that fiber optic, but we want everything to be basically flush and level across the top. So the top of the front sight level with the top of the back sight. And then for this, like I said, we have this like line of white, I call it, in between this gap. So we want to make sure that the gap is even on both the left and the right side. And then when all that is lined up, where I want it lined up on the target is, if you look at that red dot, there's still black above it, because that fiber optic pin is in the center. So it's a black post, right? So there is a line of black on top. That line of black, I like to have right at the 6 o'clock of the bullseye. So that way I'm not obscuring what I'm hitting, because some guys will put like the red, the fiber, on that bullseye. But to me, I don't do that. I like it just underneath. That way I can still see exactly the target. That's where I want my bullet to go. So I'm right at the base, or kind of cutting right in the middle of that X-ring with the very top of my sights when everything's lined up. So that'll be my focus. And in order to do that on a slow fire, in this zeroing process, again, I'm more upright. Okay, I take that natural point of aim. If you heard people talk about that, it's basically get into your position, right? So I get in, I'm gonna present my pistol where it's about on target. I'm gonna close my eyes, kind of relax everything, okay? Get into that position, and then I wanna open up my eyes again and see where I am. See, I'm off of my bull to the right. I'm on the right shoulder of the target right now. So right now, if I adjust my feet a little bit, okay, go through that same process, close my eyes, present my pistol. Okay, this is a natural, with your eyes closed and you presenting it, it's a natural lineup. Okay, this is a natural lineup of where everything's at. So in essence, if everything naturally is lined up right on target, when I open my eyes, I'm right in that target zone, or on the bullseye, or very close to it. Now I'm not fighting my natural point of aim. as I'm trying to now line up my sight. So everything is naturally right where it needs to be. Okay, now all I have to do is just settle the pistol. And it's never going to settle completely, right? You're going to have this kind of figure 8 motion, all right, of the pistol, of your sights as it's coming crossed and around the bullseye. All you want to do is work on breathing and trigger control, and just slowly you're pulling the trigger to the rear, okay, the whole time. And as you come right through that center, crack, that's when you want it to go off. Okay, it's a little bit trickier with this stock Glock trigger. Okay, that's something that we're going to work on and make it better. And then we can come out and play around a little bit more. If our zero's off, well, you know, we'll know how to shift it. So go through that process. I'm going to go ahead and put 3 rounds down range. And let's see if we need to adjust anything. All right, don't be afraid to holster in between shots too. If you want to shoot more, if your arms are getting tired out there, then trying to do this zero during this zero process, whether it's rifle or pistol, is not going to help you out any. All right, so rest the pistol and come back out. All right, and continue engaging your target. Okay, and as you can see, some in this zero process, my body position is a little more lax, my hands are a little bit more lax. All right, I'm not all that worried about controlling recoil because I'm not taking any quick follow-on shots. All right, this is just straight accuracy. All right, so we got our group. Go check it out. All right, so here's our 4-round group. All right, we've got 2 that are pretty much right in there, and 2 that are a little further out. I felt like all my shots were pretty good. I didn't feel like I had pulled 2 of them, so I'm gonna adjust my sight just a tiny bit. I want to bring my group. I'd rather see all 4 inside of that circle, especially at 15. So I'm gonna go ahead and make an adjustment on my sight. Now, of course, before we do this, let's go ahead and clear the pistol. All right, now we're out at the range. We're not inside the shop, so we don't have our vise, but we can still make this happen. Now, there is a tool. I don't have it. I don't think it's worth buying for this project for sure. But there is a tool that just kind of clamps on to the slide up here, and it has a bar on either side, and you just kind of turn something and it will just slowly, slightly adjust your sights and move them. We don't need that for this, right? So we're going to use our tools again. We'll just lay the pistol flat. All right, I've got some target stands, so we'll just kind of lay it flat. We'll give it a little tap, get a tiny, I just need a fraction of a movement out of it, I think, for that, and we should be good to go. Now, which way do we need to move it, right? So what we want to do is we're adjusting that rear sight, okay? I need my group to move to the right a little bit, so I'm going to move this rear sight to the right a little bit. All right, so that's going to readjust, because right now I'm aiming to the center, but I'm shooting off to the left, so I need to adjust my point of aim a little bit off to the right side. All right, so we're going to adjust that rear sight. Bullets need to come right. We're going to take the rear sight and move it to the right. All right, so we made a minor adjustment. We reshot our groups. All right, we've moved it over. Everything's right where we want it to be. So pretty confident in our sight adjustments that we've made. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take that Allen key that came with it. We'll back that little set screw that's in the center. We're going to go ahead and back that out, put some of that Loctite on it, and then go ahead and set that back in, and then just let the pistol set for the night and let the Loctite harden up. And we will be done with the sight project on our Glock 19. Thanks guys for following along. Make sure that you subscribe so that you can get all the updates on the new videos as they drop. And the next project is going to be the trigger. Gotta tweak that thing. It is horrible.